Ta, 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 ta.
Well, that was a nice introduction, a little bit of a trombone blow there. Michel Desjoyeaux, welcome to the 15th edition of the Royal Ocean Racing Club Time Over Distance series. This will be the last live show for a while, and we thought we'd go out with a real cracker. This week's special guest is none other than Le Professeur Michel Desjoyeaux, who joins us from his home in Concarneau. Michel, welcome to the show.
Hey, hi everybody. Thank you, Louay, for that. That's quite a pleasure to discuss for all those situations. We love sailing and we love to speak about that. So sometime I will have to improve my English, but I will do my best for you to understand everything I could say.
Yeah, thank you for talking to us in English, Michel. Have you ever done a live show like this in English before?
No, and most of the time I do not accept to make that because it's quite difficult for me. It's require a lot of concentration. But when you love to speak about what you love, that's quite easier. That's why I accept. And also, you have a very good ambassador here in France who told me, oh yes, you can go with Louay, no problem. It will be fun. You will appreciate. Which is our lady from your place, which is Samantha.
Sam Davies.
Yeah, Sam, because I call her and I say, oh, Sam, are you sure I can do that with Louay? How it is? How is sometimes the feeling with journalists is a question of feeling, and you can have. It's not a question of being a bad or good journalist. Just you have the feeling with them, and to spend one time life in such a situation, you have to get a good feeling. And Sam told me that yeah, you can go. And I realized that we met a few years ago. We speak about that a few. Later.
Did.
Yeah. And then I remember, oh, for sure, I know him. I didn't remember the name, but I remember the feeling. So let's go. And I call you and I say, yes, we go. Yeah, okay. I am.
Well, thank you for this very early picture of you. Just explain, the sailing was in your blood from when you were born. Is that right, Michel?
I could have give you earlier picture from me. The first one was in my, how do you call that, when you are a baby with the car, with a baby car. I was maybe 2 or 3.5. This picture has been made on Côte d'Or when I was 20. I was one of the youngest crew members of the Whitbread in 85, 86.
Okay.
Why do I have salted water in my blood? My blood. That's quite easier. Here I live in Port-la-Forêt. I was born just near in Concarneau, and my parents created here in Port-la-Forêt before that this harbor was done. They had a yard not to build, but to take care about them, to make them having a good winter on the roof. Mm-hmm. And the guys at the yard made the paint, replaced piece of wood, check the rig, wintering the engine, and because the house was close to the yard, and also that because my parents decided that the school for their kids would not be good enough. Then my first years at school was at home with my mommy making the lessons.
Okay.
So I went at school with other kids when I was maybe 10 only, 9.5, 10. And all that before our place between two lessons was to run through the yard and to help the guys to work on the boats and to, because we knew how to use tools and everything, and we were young and we were small and we were like a snake. We were able to go in the boats, helping them to work. So it's not only salted water, but it's also wood and technical aspect of the boats. And after that, we saw arriving polyester, glass, resin boats arriving. Then we saw racing boats of carbon. A few years later, I was less than 20. CDK technology started to build boats, racing boats like this one, for example, Formula 40, which was quite incredible years, because in fact what's happened at this moment is it was easy to make a catamaran flying on one hull. One of the first trimarans, Formula 40, was Jean Le Cam's one, because before most of them were were catamarans, and Jean Le Cam with two of my brothers at least, and the LP architects were developed flying trimarans, able to fly on one hull, which was at this moment, we never thought that before, because before that, a trimaran has float as stabilizer, but not float as fat enough to sail on, which was the main difference. And after that, and all this story, all this development has been made here in Port-la-Forêt. We are very lucky here because we are very far from everything. So if you don't develop your own thing, the time the thing arrives to you, then you are completely a loser, way far aft of the winning situation.
The interesting thing, Michel, if I can say, Côte d'Or, a development boat at Whitbread Maxi, the Formula 40, another development boat. You were 21 learning from these masters and these cutting edge designs. That must have been an amazing education.
Yeah, but we started. I could have found other picture older than those one. We developed all the boat. The lonely boats were built it in my parents' yard. Was our models we made. We made remote small boats, and we also tried a lot of system with trimaran, with catamaran, with all the box turning, the weight. We tried to make foil. We tried to make wings. You remember the system with the counting wings?
Yes.
Flip from one side to the other. We tried to make Objective 100 from Lionel Péan, but we made it in small model. Maybe 10 years before. We tried a lot of things here because we didn't. We were not afraid of any mistake. We were not. We were not impressed by anybody because we just had the opportunity to use material, to use carbon, to use resin, to use wood, to use everything, and then we went. Yeah, I don't know what is the expression in English, but we were not afraid of a white page. If we want to do something, then we try. That's all. And because we are not completely idiots, in all the things we tried here, there was bad thing for sure, but there was also a good one, and then we kept the good one and continued to improve.
Yeah, but it wasn't all development. Tell us about the Tour de France Savoie that you and thousands of French students, youngsters competed.
The Tour de France à la voile was a very helpful way of learning and sailing, because on the Tour de France à la voile, at this time we were, the picture is Selection 37, we were 8 people on board, I think. Okay. It was the opportunity for lots of guys and women also, not enough, but a nice opportunity to sail a lot, to train a lot. There was not only the Tour de France, but there was a lot of race before, during the year. And the Tour de France is one race a day, more or less, during 1 month. It's really very hard. It's so in only 1 month, you sail a lot, you race a lot in different places, because you start from the end of the Channel and you finish in the end of French coast in Mediterranean Sea. So you learn very fast, and it's very intensive. And because we are a big number of boat and big number of crew on boat, and we had it was mandatory to change the crew. We need to be 14, I think, in each team. So it was very good opportunity to learn very fast. It was incredible, this race. And it helped a lot of young guys and young sailors to improve, to sail during the night. And after that, it stops a few years ago, when for more or less the MOD70 arrived. No, we can't sail during the night, it's too dangerous. No, we can't sail too long, it's too tired. And then we lose the part of the essence of this race. Which was incredible, and I made it a few times, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and one race you did, the 1991 mini Transat, and we'll zoom in a little on the boat. But what shall we do that now? Because talk about development. This is some serious development.
Yeah, this is also one of the white page we made here. This boat was not built from zero, because I didn't have the time for that. In 91, I was racing with Figaro Aquitaine, the one you see we'll see on the next page.
Yeah. Okay.
The white, red, and blue boat, Figaro. And this mini Transat is one thing I thought since a very, very long time. I was in your country in Penzance in 1983 for the start of the mini Transat, because my friend, famous friend Roland Jourdain, was racing this boat on a wooden boat this year to prepare the boat. We prepared the boat here in my parents' yard, and I really wanted to make this race again, because to participate to this race, I was not racing. It was Roland Jourdain racing time. Because those boats were very friendly, small size. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need a lot of people working around, and you can develop everything you can imagine. In '83, I remember something in Penzance Harbor when we were there before the start. There was a boat with no mast. Okay, they removed the mast to prepare something, or to change, or to check. No. In '83, there was a boat which wanted to start for the mini Transat. Was a boat with a kite. '83. It's not something new to sail with kites. There was already someone. I think that he was not allowed to start, but and with a mini Transat, you can try anything you want, because it's quite not so dangerous. The boats are floated. So I wanted to my first goal was to make, I understood with all my experience of sailing on different kind of boat, multi-hull, monohull, catamaran, and so on, dinghies and big boats, that to go faster, you need to increase the righting moment of your boat. And then I decided, I had the idea, which you will understand a bad idea, that if you want to increase the righting moment, then you need to move the weight. You can move the weight of the crew, but you can't, until this, you can't move the weight of the keel. that's a shame because the keel is more or less a third third of the weight of the boat. So I imagine that to put 2 keels under the boat and at each end a bulb, and I wanted to the bulb was deep. Then you not deep, like a tank. The bulb was a tank. And then I wanted to put mercury from one side to the other with a pump. Then one tank was empty, and the windward one was full of mercury. Mercury is 13.5 kilos per liter, so higher density than the lead. And then it was in 83, 84. And I realized that, no, Michel, you can't do that. You can't go sailing, including at least offshore, with 200 kilos of mercury in the water. You don't have the right to put those liquid metal, which is very, very toxic, in the nature. Already we had ecologic mine. Then I tried to do the same effect to move the weight of the keel. Then I tried to I thought about the canting keel, and on this boat you see on the screen was the first offshore racing boat with a canting keel. Jean-Marie Finot and Pascal Conque already tried that on a micro cupper, I think. And if you remember that, on the two Arken brothers, Peter and Olaf, they made more or less at the same moment, around 1991. They made a concept boat which was Procyon. You will find that on the web.
Okay.
Which was a concept boat with a canting keel, a twin mast to be able to be removed easy to go under the bridge from Chesapeake Bay. And the canting keel was not for performance, but because one of the two brothers loved whiskey a lot, or bourbon, sorry. He wanted to have the table of the boat horizontal always, to keep the glass of bourbon as full as possible, not to lose any liquid.
Any whiskey. Okay.
And me, when I did that, was not to make a concept boat, but to try to go faster. And in 91, the rule of the mini transat, there was a righting moment checked with 30 kilo at the top of the mast, and it was allowed to have 200 liters of ballast each side. And I had them plus the canting keel, and the boat was really, really, really fast. I was able to win the second leg, but the first one, the boat was so much powerful, and I didn't have the time to validate the boat with some time. I broke the rudders the first night of the race. Okay. I was so fast. I was leading the fleet at this moment, but I didn't have rudder strong enough.
But the second leg was the Atlantic, hey? You won the Atlantic race.
If it had been the first mini transat, then I would won the mini transat, because at the beginning the leg from England to Canaria, I think, was just a meeting navigation, but was not part of the race. Only the transatlantic was a race. Okay. And also on this boat, you can see a curved track for the Vang, because the boom was close to the deck. There was the swinging keel with ropes to move it in the boat. There was a lot of things. There was ropes spliced for the runner backstays for the long distance from the top of the mast. Okay. All the chain plates for the rig, for the standing rig, was full carbon on the mast.
And the gooseneck, tell us about that, Michel.
Yeah, the gooseneck was not on the deck. You see the two plates of carbon which was a gooseneck support.
Okay.
And also, you don't have. I didn't find nice pictures of this, but this boat also had a bowsprit, which was a foldable bowsprit. You have it here. You see the round part, and you see the tie rod under to go to the bottom of the bow, and you see also the guy on the jockey pool of the bowsprit, which is something now completely common in mini transat. I was the first one with this system, and we imagine it here because. At this time, you have to remember that the automatic pilots were very simple, very poor compared to what we know now with 3D sensor, with a lot of computers, the system, and on the mini transat and also on the Figaro, the automatic pilots were very simple regarding what's happened now. And I wanted to be able, for the second leg, to be able to jibe from the cockpit without needing to move a spinnaker pool on the mast. And also it was the opportunity with this system that if you broach, you will not break the mast on the spinnaker on the pool because it will fold against the tension line. And it also gives the opportunity to have very, very big spinnakers, very, very low, and to go downwind because you can pull the spinnaker, pull the bowsprit on the side, which was something that also we tried on the Formula 40 catamaran a few years ago.
Okay.
So this boat was more or less a laboratory, much more than a racing boat. But it was quite sufficient.
Incredible.
Yep.
And I know there's a few mini transat sailors watching, actually. So maybe they've learned a few things from you.
We always have something to learn from others.
Now, Michel, I believe that you have competed in 12 Solitaire du Figaro.
More than that, I think more or less 14, yes.
And you've made the podium 7 times and won it 3 times.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I am not an expert on the Figaro, but that must be one of the best set of statistics from the Figaro. It must be.
On 12, yes. On 5, someone we will speak about a bit later is better than me because he made 5 podium on 5 participation, but without any winning.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. But the Figaro again. I'm alluding to the French culture here. It's above the Tour Voile.
For me, it's above everything. For sure, it's not as complex as the single-handed around the world race as the Vendée Globe is, but it's much more difficult in terms of sport, in terms of intensity. This is the place where you will sleep the less you can imagine in any other competition. It's the place where each year there is more or less 30, 40, up to 55 competitors during all the year, and especially during the Figaro race. It is so intense that you can't imagine what's happened in your head. And I think that if you want to be cool at sea when offshore sailing alone, then you need to make the Figaro, to have compete in the Figaro at least one time. And we spoke about Sam Davis a few minutes before. When I was near her in 2008, 2009 Vendée Globe, it was my second participation, but it was her first participation. Sam, and we chat by mail, and she told me, "Oh, you can't imagine how I am happy to have sailed the Figaro before. I did learn so much before to make offshore sailing alone." This is really something where and it's also something difficult to understand, but what I could say, the level of I don't know the name, exigence. How do you translate that?
We'll come back to that. Un autre mot en français, s'il vous plaît.
You need to be perfect in any point, otherwise you will not win. You can't have
excellence.
Excellence.
Yes.
Yeah, but more than excellence, you need to be very straight, very not only excellent, but also very straight, very rational, very precise every time.
Precise.
Yeah. Because your boat has to be exactly to the rule, your equipment on board, your navigation shall need to be perfectly prepared, your sail shall be prepared, exactly the good shape, the good trim, and so on. So when you go through this race and this class, and you are able to perform, then it means that you can play on any boat at any job on a boat, including number one, including helms, including navigation, including trimming sails. That's what you will find on Groupama crew when they win the Volvo Ocean race in 2012. 7 guys from the crew did the Figaro, and I think that 5 of them won the Figaro. Then you have crew which are very performant in any kind of situation, and very I don't know how do you say that, polyvalent. You are able to do whatever you need on a boat because you know
a good all-rounder.
Yeah, that's correct. So this Figaro is a very good school for sure, but also a proof of concept of your performance.
And Michel, what do you think of the Figaro 3? What is your opinion?
The Figaro 3 is quite interesting because we needed to change. The Figaro 1 made 13 years. The Figaro 2 made also more or less 13 or 14 years. We needed to change because the boats are so much used that they were quite at the end of what they are able to do in terms of structure, and there was a form of slopes. I don't know that. The sailors were not very enthusiastic to sail with that because they were sailing since so many times, so many years. They didn't want. They want to change.
You wanted more performance from the boat?
Yeah, sure, more performance, and it was also the beginning of the foils on the IMOCA 60. So if you don't have a foil on your boat, then you lose your career. Obviously, the boat is quite much better than the Figaro 2 and the Figaro 1, obviously also. Not only because he has the foil, but the spinnaker is quite more or less 1.5 times bigger than the one before. The boat is much powerful. Longer keel, bigger draft, 2.5 meter.
But this boat is harder to sail than a normal model.
Also because the spinnaker is not only 70 square meter, but 120 square meters. Because the boat has a bigger righting moment, because the boat has has one more sail with a Jennaker. Because the boat has smaller rudder, which are good for high speed, but in light wind sometimes it's difficult. So you increase the level of performance needed by the skipper, which is in the way of what's happened on this class since the beginning. But for a guy arriving from another circuit, for example, another one from Mini Transat. He will spend a few years to be able to race after the best guys, and that's also the interest of such a series, such a class. That the first one or the best one. In fact, it's quite normal. It's quite evident, but
and as you say. You look at the top French sailors, how many of them have competed in the Figaro?
Yeah,
it's nearly everyone, isn't it? Nearly everyone.
Yeah, if you see all the more, except the first winner, except the winner of the first Vendée Globe, all the others were at least winner of the Figaro or in the 3-4. They already made a very good performance in this race. So it's a very good stage level of the pyramid of the performance. At the base, you have an optimist sailor, and at the top, I don't know, you've got the America's Cup, you've got in France, you've got the Vendée Globe, you've got
the ocean race, maybe.
And the Figaro is a very, very useful step of that. But it's more than a step, it's also a special level of that.
And talking about a step, I know you like this picture. It's the 92 Transat AG2R, which you won with Jacques Carré. Carré, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Jacques Carrès, right.
Carrès. Why did you pick that one out? You're smiling already, I can see.
Yeah, this picture was made just before, just when we crossed the line in Saint-Barth. In this time in 1992, we didn't have all the weather forecasts we have now. We didn't have all the satellite communication system and capacity to discuss with shore on to have position of the other boats. And when we crossed the Atlantic, we started from Canaria or Madeira, I don't remember. And we arrived in coast of West Indies. We didn't know our ranking because we didn't have news of any boats because we just had the competitor during a few hours, a few days at the beginning, and nothing before a few hours before the line. And when we arrived, it was incredible because for sure we knew that we were not bad guys. But when you arrive after 20 days of crossing the Atlantic without seeing any boat, any competitors, but any boat, any cargo ship or anybody, then it's quite incredible to be the winner and to have the first Tiponche in Saint-Barthélemy. So
yeah, and it's a big race for your area, Concarneau. It's a big race for Concarneau, isn't it?
Yeah. And we are very happy to follow the start here in Concarneau each 2 years. We are sorry for this year because with the COVID, we didn't have the start for 2020, maybe next year. No, that's also a very good, and also was not our case in 1992, but for a lot of people, it's also the opportunity to cross the Atlantic in race, but not single-handed race. So lots of guys are able to, they accept to do that because it's to cross the Atlantic because it's double-handed, which is very efficient. In fact, you don't have the weight of a full, not the weight in kilos, but the weight of managing a full crew, of a problem of interference with people when they sleep, when they. Two is I love. I was not very good in double-handed, but always. But I love that because you don't have the pressure of being alone, but you don't have the pressure to be with full crew.
Okay.
And it's very efficient. It's cool.
Okay, that's very, very honest of you. And you won the Transat AG2R. You also won the Figaro in '98, which leads us on to your first Vendée Globe. How did it come about? This was Isabelle Autissier's boat. Is that correct?
The one is, and the picture is my boat. We built in 1999 and launched in May 2000. In fact, in 98, I finished the Figaro race and the Figaro year. I won more or less one race for two, and won 4 races on 5, including the Figaro with 2 legs. And I was at the top of what I could expect in any competitor can. Don't hear. I should not say that from me, but I was at the maximum I was able to do, and I really say, okay, if this year I don't go on a bigger boat and bigger step, increasing the size of my toys. Then I will stay on the Figaro circuit for years and years, and I don't want that, and I want to progress, and I want to go on bigger boats. And at this time, I was sailing a lot on multi-hulls, on Orma 60, and before to meet PRB boss, I wanted to make a trimaran, an Orma 60. Then Isabelle Autissier sailed around alone. She capsized and she lost her boat. She has been saved by Giovanni Soldini. And I already had the green light with PRB boss. It was the father and the son at this time. The father has died since. And they told me while Isabelle was racing, okay, Isabelle gave us a short list, and you are on the short list. Would you be able to sail for us after her, because she doesn't want to continue to compete alone offshore? She's tired. And I say, yeah, okay, let's go. And a few weeks later, maybe 2 weeks, she capsized, she lost her boat, and I say, oh, fuck. I will not have this race, and they will stop the sponsoring. They can't continue. It's too difficult. And a few days after, the phone called again. Here is Jean-Jacques Laurent, so the son, which is the boss now. Okay, we lose the boat, but we want to continue, and we want you to be the skipper, and you will build the boat you want, and then we follow you, and let's go. We want to. The start of the next Vendée Globe in 2000. So for me, we built these boats in the team. Vincent Rioux was my boat captain and was my second arm. And we built this boat. We launched it a few weeks before the Transat single-handed transatlantic English one. We broke the mast by a nice Sunday in the Sabdolen, 2 weeks before the start of the Transat.
Right.
We repaired. We saved the mast. We saved the sail. We repaired the mast here in Port-la-Forêt, and then we sailed. We arrived late in Plymouth. For the start. Then my goal was to make my qualification, and it was the beginning of a long story. I was ahead for the first days, and then I slowed down because I didn't want to break my mast. I wanted to finish the race to be qualified for the Vendée Globe.
Okay. There's an interesting question here. I'm going to add it from Thomas. He's asking, did you have internet? How expensive was that? So let's say for 2000, what kind of internet communication, or what kind of communication did you have on PRB in 2000?
At this time, we had a fleet 120. I think it was a big balloon that you can see on the next slide.
Yeah.
You move.
And 120 refers to kilobytes, so you could get a connection of 120 kilobytes.
No, not
Much less.
100 kilobytes. I think that at least half of that, which was exceptional. The price was, I think the price was around €8 per minute.
Oh, okay.
But the kilobyte was really slow. When you send it 1 minute of pictures of film, it spent 40 minutes of broadcast.
Okay, expensive.
Yeah, so quite expensive. And I remember one time I started to send a video, or maybe 40 minutes or more. Then I felt asleep in my cabin,
okay.
and I woke up 2 hours after, and I saw fuck.
You had a big bill.
The transmission, the broadcast stops 10 minutes after I started. So I let the system consuming $8 per minute during 1.5 hours. my file was not sent to shore.
No.
And also a lot of electric consumption, and we were very afraid already to save as much as possible energy. So sometimes it was difficult to say, oh, I will have to send picture, but and also the linked question with this is also we already had forecasts, but we had to be very happy with 5 days of forecast offshore.
Okay.
Already now we have more than that, 16 days of forecast we can have available.
Okay. Very different than you can only look forward for 5 days, and it's only a forecast. It's not exact.
It was perfect for 2 days, as now it's perfect for maybe 8-7.
Okay. Yeah, a big difference.
But it was what we had. Nobody had. We also used satellite device, which was we brought the pictures straight from the satellites, not having them on internet. It was too expensive, and it's a big antenna. You can see on some pictures with 4 wires turning. I don't know if you see them. Yeah, you see it on the left, right picture in the middle.
The one with the solar panels.
Yeah. At the back of the spherical, on the on the left of the ball, you have a white stick, which is the antenna. And it was very helpful because you had the picture on your computer more or less half an hour after starting for high pressure, for low pressure. Sorry, on bridge on front, it was very helpful in the south.
Okay, well, we've got a little collage of pictures from that race.
Yeah, the first one is for Christmas. The second one was not so smiley because it was for Happy New Year. The one on the top of the right is what I found when I remove and unscrew my engine starter.
Oh.
We will come about that later. The nice one on the left is when Roland Jourdain, my friend, the one who sailed the mini Transat in '83, when I was his more or less boat captain or boat nigger, with Dame Hélène, which was second. It was this picture has been made in the Les Sables d'Olonne channel when he goes through the harbor after the finish line. And then we jumped with Hélène from a rib to his deck and carry him. It was very good moment. In the middle, it was offshore Argentina coast, I think, where the sea is quite azure. It's very nice.
Look at beautiful color.
It's not. It was exactly like that on the sea. And it was a nice day. Under that, it's when I crossed the Cape Horn. I had the time to go to the shaver, which is not the case today. And the goal was to make the picture and to send it as soon as possible to French media for the newspaper cover the day after, because it was already late in the night for French. And the last one is one of the moments I most appreciate at sea, which is sunset and sunrise.
Why do you most appreciate sunset, sunrise? Why is that?
Because
special?
It's the moment where you have the better, impressive lights in the sky and in the clouds and on the sea, and you see that before it was the night, and after it will be the night.
Yeah. And when you were at sea for 93 days.
Yes, sir.
What is that like, Michel? I know you're racing, but what is it like to spend 93 days on your own?
I think that if you don't want to make the Vendée Globe for the true reason that you want to be convinced that you're able to do that, and you do that for your own, not for anybody, not for money, not for any career, then you can accept to stay much longer. Some of your ears, they should know an Australian guy who ran the Arctic one time. He came back to Australia, and everybody say, you are just a small sailor. You just made one time the Arctic. No, you are not a hero. Then he started again for 3 turns of the Arctic, and each time he was going up to the equator and going back. And then when he came back to Australia, then he was a hero. If you just make that the Vendée Globe for your career or for your money, then you will not accept to be, and you will not be efficient for 90 days. The next time they will stay less than 70 days for sure. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to be there, if you really love what you do, then it's quite easy to spend. And when you finish, you are happy to finish for sure. But in some situation ashore, then you would say, I was good at sea alone by managing everything alone without having to discuss with anybody, to share decision with anybody. You were your own manager for everything. Okay. And that's quite cool if you love single-handed sailing, which is my case.
Well, let's look at this is the results, and you win the Vendée Globe. That must be a dream for any solo sailor. That is the ultimate dream. It must be.
I don't know if it's the ultimate for every sailor, because some of them, they don't like this, and then they will not compete in that, and they will not appreciate to do that. That's quite a very nice situation, in fact, because when you want, which was my case. In fact, you worked very hard for that. You build the boat, you prepare the boat, you sailed. You went in the South Ocean. You were close to break the mast. A lot of time. You had a lot. One of the main lesson I gave to François Gabard when we worked together for his Vendée Globe in 2012 was, okay, you are very good at sea. You are a very good tactician. You are a very good trimmer. You are a very good helmer. What you have to understand is each day you will have a problem. Each day you will have to solve this problem. If you don't do that, if you consider that a problem is a problem, but not a problem, but not to each problem, you have to find a solution, and you will find a solution because you don't have the choice. Then you will be able to go through the Vendée Globe and to appreciate. If you consider each time you have a problem, which is every day, each time you take a hammer on the head, like how do you call that, a piece of metal, a thin stick that
a nail
you push in the wood. Then after maybe 10 days of race, then you will be already not broken, but
finished.
Finished, and you will. It will be a pain in the ass to finish the race and to finish the race just because you have contract, because you have sponsor, because you have family, because you have friends who work hard for them, for you. And hopefully, I was very happy to make my 2 Vendée Globes. Including the first one for sure.
And you set a new record for the race, a new race record, and you changed the course of Great Britain's sailing history, Michel.
I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry for all the sailors in Britain, in UK,
but being honest. You know, Ellen MacArthur had a great boat. She had a very, very good boat, and she worked bloody hard.
Yeah, sure.
She had the equipment, and she applied herself, and that's why I'm a massive admirer of what she has done, and I'm sure everyone else. it's quite incredible that that she got up there, because a British sailor had never got anywhere near the French before.
That's quite true, or not. You don't forget Sir Robin Knudsen, at least, because there were French guys in this race in '69 in the Golden Globe.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, for sure, she was very close to me. She had a very good boat. Congratulations to Murph. But I think that for sure she was a very good competitor, very pushy, very full power all the time. But I think that she didn't have the skin strong enough at this time. And it's also what I say to the young guys here in Port-la-Forêt who are racing Figaro, and they finish 2, 3, 4, or 5, and they think that they are already the king of the sea. And I say, okay, you are a good sailor, you are a good competitor, but maybe you don't have the skin strong enough as the elephant skin. And I think that she lost a lot of energy because she was very young, which was quite impressive for sure. She would have been 4 years older. I would have more problem with her for sure.
Yes, you know, it was a fantastic.
She was 24 and I was already 33, 35. Right.
It must have launched your career to win the Vendée Globe, to set a record. Because unlike other countries, in France, it's complete stardom, isn't it? It's front page news in France.
I don't understand our question now.
Winning the Vendée Globe made you a star.
Yeah, for sure. After that, I was recognized when I take the tube in Paris, when I travel in different places. But hopefully, I was already a star in my my population of sailors and racers. I already won the Figaro 2 times. I already won a few other races. So it didn't arrive, poof, in just one star. Oh, here is a new one. I was sailing a lot as a crew member with a lot of guys, with Loïc Perron, with Francis Joyon, with a lot of guys before. So I saw also with Tabarly, with so many guys. So I had, with all that experience, the opportunity to see how it's difficult to be the boss and how it's difficult to be pushed in front of you media. You are kind, Louay, but they are not all of yours.
Yeah, I can say the same for sailors as well. You are kind as well, Michel.
It's a win-win party, you know. But also, I had the opportunity to climb in those aspects also, not only as a sailor, but also as a leader. And I learned a lot with all the experience I had before. And I learned slowly and slowly and slowly. And for sure, already I won the Figaro. The first Vendée Globe, I was already 35, which now it's very old. When you win the Figaro after 30, you are quite already an old guy. Okay, so let's come back 20 years before. I was not so young, but I had the skin strong enough. And also, I was not the boss at the beginning on the boat. I became the boss, sorry. Because I wanted to lead my career and to do what I wanted, as I wanted, and with whom I wanted, and that's like that you become a boss.
Yeah, and you said before the 2000 Vendée Globe, you were thinking about a trimaran. Oh my word! Did you build one?
Yeah. When I came back with the Vendée Globe, I said to PRB, I want to make trimarans because it was already what I wanted to do before. And I sailed a lot with other skipper, with before the Vendée Globe also. On the year before the Vendée Globe, when I was sailing with PRB, I was sailing with Alain Gauthier on Foncia during the same year of preparation of the Vendée Globe. Multi-hull are quite incredible boats. You discovered in England, in UK, such multi-hulls, and consider them, not only discover them, but consider them due to America's Cup. But I think that before that, we are considering they were completely crazy boats and not for sailors. Maybe some of your era will not feel that, but I think I'm correct.
Yeah, there will be some multi-hull specialists watching this that know all about the Orma 60, but it's a brutal boat. There's very little place to get out of the weather, the systems. You have to be very powerful as a person. To sail one of these solo or two-handed is unbelievable.
I don't agree with you. Sorry, Louay. Those boats were only 60 feet long on width. They were only less than 6 tons. For sure, they had the righting moment 2 times stronger than an IMOCA today, but more or less more than 2 times. But they were very friendly. They were very easy to sail, and for sure they were very powerful. I remember crossing the Atlantic and trimming mainsail a bit more for 2 centimeters on the sheet, and the boat accelerates for 2 knots. I was already at 35 and I reached 37 knots. But when you were completely confident with your boat and you were completely a part of the boat, not fighting against, but composed with, then it was really an enjoyment you can't imagine. I really appreciate those boats and sailing with them. You have to understand that with the same boat, we made Formula One races on rally, and those boats were very, very funny when we were full crew, 11 people on board, running 20 knots upwind, 35 downwind, crossing 10 boats on the same race, very short race, and with the same boat, without changing a few details, we made single or double-handed across the Atlantic races. Yeah. That was really impressive boat. And all that is after the Formula 40 we spoke at the beginning of the talk. And they were I really appreciate those boats. And now you tell me, they were dangerous, but now they sail on 32 meters long multi-hulls flying at 40 knots. They spend their time to turn the handles all the day long because everything is by hand. You don't have the choice. That's a rule. And how can you appreciate this? For sure, you go faster, but no, not for me.
But just again, a statistic to show how successful you were in the Orma 60, Transat Anglaise, we call it a different name, 2004, winning that, Route de Rhum, 2002, winning that. No other Orma 60 did that, won both those races.
My best pride with this boat was on 5 years between the Route du Rhum 2002 and the Route du Rhum 2006, which was the last race of this boat with me. We made more or less 5 Grand Prix a year. We made 1 transatlantic a year. We made 1 or 2 offshore long distance races. And we only cancelled 1 race, which was in Lorient in South Brittany. Just 1 race of all this program during 5 years. This is one of my pride because it's mean that for sure we didn't have the best boats and we were maybe not the best sailor also, but we were always able to keep the boat up in the right position, never capsize with this boat, and using it with a very high reliability of the boat. And it was possible to do that. It was not evident.
So almost 60 to one of the most developed IMOCA 60s of its time, Foncia 2000 for the 2008 Vendée Globe, and you've very kindly given us this very detailed schematic. The race in 2008 was really hot, wasn't it? A lot of good designs, a lot of good sailors.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. We were 30 on the starting line. I think that there was 18 new boats, what we call new boats for IMOCA boats built it since the previous Vendée Globe, so less than 3 years boats. Like this one, which was a far design, we were more or less 6 of this shape, just the shape of the hull, because after there was a few details different for sure. And it was incredible. I think it will be the most valuable Vendée Globe we will have for years.
And I remember coming to Les Sables d'Olonne. That's where we met before you started the race, and there was another far design boat there. Remind me which one was it? Was it PRB? Was it Rio?
Yeah, PRB 2006 was the first of those twins.
But you weren't identical twins, were you? You were very different boats.
No, it was not very different. It was different because we changed the lamination for a stiffer hull. We changed the deck gears. We changed the bottom of the dagger bolts. We changed the position of the keel. We made a second keel after the first one.
Okay.
Mainly the setting. This boat was the first IMOCA with only 4 winches, without winch on the mast, without clutch on the mast close to the deck.
So having finished the race, winning the race, what really worked in the concept, the development of the boat? What was a winning part of the design?
I think that the winning part is that there is no winning part. The winning machine was like the devil is in the details, as they say in the clause. The devil was in every detail of preparing the boat. What you have to understand is when I started to build this boat, I knew 7 years before, when I put the first foot on the dock in 2001, the 10th of February in 2001, finishing my first Vendée Globe. I knew that I would go again. Because I love this race, and I was wanting to go for more competition with more competitor, with better density of the level, not better level, but better density of the level. And I was very well served with 18 new boats in 2008.
Yeah.
And during the 6 year I raced with Géant, we just spoke about that. And I continue to follow what's happened. I follow Vincent Rioux and Sébastien Josse competing in 2004-2005 Vendée Globe.
Okay.
I continue to watch the development of all the boats. So when we started to build this boat, I knew exactly what I wanted for any square centimeter of this boat. I could show you drawings of the cockpit I made, handmade, and we decided here. Hopefully, my brother Hubert, which is dead, died since, was very helpful because he was the builder of the boat, but he was thinking as me. We were very close together.
Yeah.
And he helped me to make a very nice boat because we really made it together. And I was completely focused on what's happened on those boats and how to make them faster and how to. So I knew exactly what I wanted.
Yes.
And I think that when I launched the boat, not sail the boat, but launched the boat, I already knew 98% of the capacity of this boat.
Okay. I'm going to go to the next slide because here is a detail from down below. Now, the whole concept here, you're going to be going in the race for however many days. It's 80 plus, 80, 90 days.
Yep.
And managing sleep, but also being aware of what's going on. This is the concept you came up with, yeah?
Yeah. It's a communication concept because, in fact, for sure, I spent time in this carbon seat mold on me. The same I had when I was offshore with Géant. The same we used.
Okay.
And I just used it when I was when I was working on my computer. The rest of the time for sleeping and waiting and watching what's happened, I was using a bag of small balls. How do you call a white
bean bag? A bean
bag. Yeah, a big bean bag, which was just under the companionway, which was the most efficient to jump out of the cabin to go in the cockpit and ease the sail or trim or get the helm if the pilot was off. But for sure, that was very comfortable. But if I would go again, I would not carry anything of that, just a bean bag.
Because why would you not go with that?
Because it's too heavy, and you just have one position where you are good. In a bean bag, you can sit, you can lie down, you can turn, you can remove. You are far from the vibration of the boat, but not too far. You are very isotherm term of when it's cold. So it's very, very efficient. I had one on Géant, and I also sent the same bean bag on Foncia.
Okay.
So I did have all that. And also you can see on the back of my head a helmet, which is the one you have in an helicopter, which was a noise reducer already. I had one in 2000 also. Which is very efficient. That's incredible that you completely remove all the bad noise of the boat, and you just hear the small music.
Yeah.
Completely. You are not far from your boat, but it's quite holidays to have that on the head.
Yeah, So you were coping with the noise of the boat, but at the beginning of the race, you had a bad smell on board, didn't you?
Yeah. The day after the start, the morning, maybe around 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, I switched on my engine to charge my battery because the engine is the generator for charging. And after half an hour, I smell bad smell, which is clearly identified as electric burn smell. So I opened the engine box, and I felt that it came from that place for sure. And I also saw water in this box, and I straight understood that it was a leak. A leak I had on my ballast tank on one side, up on the windward side, because we were up in the first day. And there was a small leak. I saw it from the beginning, but I saw that all the leak was running on the leeward side of the boat, and I removed it hours by hours. But I didn't check that there was some in the engine, in the engine box, which is in the middle of the two ballast, in the cabin, in the central part of the cabin. Then in the Vendée Globe, you don't have the right to stop in any place except in Les Sables and except during 10 days after the start. So my first goal was to U-turn the boat, going back to Les Sables. Hopefully it was downwind, so I went quite fast backward. I arrived the night around midnight, and on the dock, everybody, all the team, and including Nani Diesel guys. There were two guys on the dock with my team. They jumped on the boat and they took care about the boat, repairing all the electric circuit of the engine. Hopefully the engine was not damaged, only the electric wires. While this time I went for sleep and I told, I'm too nervous, I'm too angry about fighting, and I want to go back as soon as possible, but I'm too nervous, I will not be able to sleep. He told me that 2 seconds after I was sleeping. And I told to my boat captain to wake me up 20 minutes precisely before that they finished the job, for me to have the time to wake up and to reach the boat. And then we started at 3:30 in the night. So just after a 3 hours pit stop, that would be quite perfect in Formula One circuit.
Yeah.
To compare, and then I went again, but hopefully in my head I didn't make a U-turn. I just made what I spoke before about François, is each time you will have a problem, each time you need to find a solution. This time, okay, it was a big problem for sure, but the solution was to go in Les Sables, not to go back in Les Sables, to go in Les Sables, to repair, and to start again for sailing and for racing and to do what I wanted. The morning before the start, we had an issue on the dock because you remember the start in Les Sables. You have the first boat to reach the ocean is the one at the end of the dock. Then after it's one each side up to the last one along the quay, and I was one of the last one. And each time you've got the president of the department, you've got the master of the city of Les Sables, you've got the journalist, and they come to you and they say, okay, bye. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like this. It's like they would say that, like they would tell you, maybe it's the last time we will see you, so we are happy to shake your hand. I didn't want to do that, so I asked to my team that after the boat just before me left the harbor, the dock, I asked them to leave also, and they made a mistake. They were pressed by time. They made a small mistake. The boat was going backwards, straight to the dock, to the rocks on the side.
Oh no!
And nobody more was speaking on the whole harbor. Everybody was sawing the boat of one of the favorites. Will break his rudder in a few seconds, and hopefully it was middle tide, and the bulb was stopped in the deep, in the swallow.
I shouldn't laugh, but it must have been terrible. And I stayed completely calm, no rush, no problem, no voice, no cry. I just wanted to go to sail and to fight. So, and then the boat start again to go to the sea and to the start. And it was for me one of the steps of this race. Each day you will have problems. And I could give you all the problem I had, or the main problem I had during this race, and we would have fun. We'll have to have a bottle of wine for that one. But fight you did.
More than one bottle, Louay.
Fight you did, and particularly towards in the south of the Indian Ocean, some very bad weather, and you started so far behind this very impressive fleet, and one by one you caught them, didn't you?
Yeah. When I started again from Les Abdolen, I saw that okay, the race is long. A lot of things can happen. My not my goal, but my thought is okay. Try to be in the fifth while crossing the Pond after two-thirds of the race. But I didn't put that as a main focus. My main focus was to fight, was to go as fast as possible. I didn't have any competitors around me as the first boat, and hopefully, as I was more or less alone, I pushed the boat as I thought that I would have to do that. When I made the U-turn the morning after the start, I was already 10 miles ahead of the other boats around me, so I already put them a big stick in the back. So I knew that I was able to do that, and I really wanted to do that. So I pushed the boat as I thought, and then arriving in the fleet around 12 or 10. Okay, what's happened? Let's go. That's quite cool.
But it's interesting. You set yourself a goal to be top 5 at Cape Horn or at Cape Horn. That's a long way around.
Yeah. But
you set the goal a long way away.
I thought, okay, if I am in the fifth in Cape Horn, I have the Atlantic to try to reach the head of the race. And this picture is quite interesting because I'm quite sure that this picture has been took in Indian Ocean, which is for me the worst ocean you can imagine in the world, because it's always gray like that. This picture for sure has been took in middle of the day where it should be sunny and nice. And the waves are in all the direction. It's really a disaster. And if you see what's happened in 2008, 2009, where only 11 boats finished the race on 30, then you will see that most of the concept boats the stopped somewhere around the Indian Ocean because of the wave, because of the wind, and because it's the hardest place of the oceans over the world.
Yeah, I mean the notable Loic Perron, Ecova, all of these, as you say, concept boats, they got damaged, didn't they?
Everybody, mainly all the damage were there, including me. But I had problem with my bowsprit with the tie rod. And every day, more or less every day, the new leader was becoming, because the previous one broke something or lose something or canceled because he had too much problem. And I arrived in this, and I took the lead. I remember exactly. It was a morning, the ranking arriving on the computer, and I saw, I'm just close to Mike, Mike Golding.
Yeah.
And I realized that if I was so close, about maybe a few miles at the ranking, it means that he had a major issue. Mm-hmm. And I checked. You can check the speed of the boat, average speed during since the previous hours. And I understood that it was only 2 or 3 knots, maybe average on 4 hours. And I understood that
big problem.
Big problem. And he lost his mast maybe 1 hour before the ranking. And at this time, you just have a ranking each 4 hours, and you didn't know what's happened. But when a boat is in this place is at 3 knots, not only because you damage a sail or you stop the boat for a repair. It was a major issue. So I took the lead this day. I think that we were close to under the Australia. Australia.
Cape Lewin?
After that, I think already.
Okay.
Yeah. It was the 36th day of the race, I can tell you.
Okay. And
And
when
after
you're
I
in
never
that,
looked.
yeah, when you're in that situation, Michel, we're being honest here. You have the horrendous sea state, big wind, boats with very good sailors breaking all around you. You having your own problems on board. Do you ever feel afraid? Do you ever have terror?
Remember what we said, what we spoke about 10 minutes ago. When I launched this boat, I already knew 99% of this boat, exactly how it is, how it has to be used, why I did it like that, or why I asked to be built like that. So I was clearly very confident in this boat, and all the boat was made to be used. I used it. You will see. I don't think that you kept this picture, but I had issue, but no. I was very lucky, in fact.
With the
Uh,
bowsprit?
with the bowsprit, with the rudder, for example, I broke all the stanchion on the foredeck, but I
Okay.
didn't broke them. Let's hear precisely. I didn't broke them because I pulled on with the sail, or I
Okay.
just broke them because they went backwards with the
Oh,
water, because I was pushing the boat so hard that I was making nose diving a few times a day. You can't imagine.
oh,
And on the stanchion, where they were alloy welded stanchion,
okay.
bolted on the deck, and they were breaking backwards.
Oh,
So after a storm, where I find the time to go on the deck to try to repair that. But obviously, because I kept the sails up, I never needed to go on the foredeck in the storm. I
okay.
just had to furl and unfurl from the cockpit. So it was
Okay.
not so dangerous not to have tension at the bow on the foredeck. But I put them again on the base, and I put small ropes forward, like a shroud,
Yeah.
to keep them standing up. But I was really very, very confident in the boat, and that's why I was able to push him so hard.
Yeah.
And at the media, all the other competitors said, "Oh no, the boat has got memory. We have to be careful with them. We can't push them." And I said, "No way. The boat is made for that. We can push on it, and I'm confident with." So at this time, maybe I will be wrong if I break, but until that, I'm confident, so I push.
Okay. And that was the real critical part of that race, wasn't it? That's where you passed the top boats and got into the lead. What at Cape Horn? What position were you?
I was already first. I was first south of
Incredible.
Australia, and I kept the lead until the finish.
And you won. Well, I'll pull up the statistics. So
I won by
you started how late? 40 hours. By the time you got
no.
back to where you were.
Sorry, we are in a competition, Louay. We are not in the live. So I started
Okay. Yeah.
the
Okay.
same day with the other competitors. So my racing time is 84 days, 3 hours, 9 minutes, and 8 seconds.
Incredible.
And
Over
and
5 days.
my course time is more or less 40 hours less.
So
So already we were able to run the world in only 80 days this year.
and yeah, and a new record as well.
Yeah,
What?
if you see
Yeah.
what's happened since the second Vendée Globe, we saved more or less 4 days each 4 years,
Incredible. Incredible.
and
And
it will be maybe more for the next one.
what was the reception like for you in Les Sables d'Olonne? What was
Uh,
that like?
it was incredible, really incredible. I was sure to win if I finished, because the second boat for a long time was Roland Jourdain, but he broke his keel after touching a whale offshore Brazil coast, and he lost
Okay.
his keel offshore close to Azores Islands. And the boat after was Armel Leclerc, but he finished 1 week after me, I think.
Yeah.
Like that, yes.
Armel was
6 days,
just over
yeah.
5 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you told me you wanted me to show everybody that finished this race. It was a very tough race, wasn't it, Michel?
Yeah, it was incredible because when you see the starting line on the harbour before the start, that's incredible. There are 30 boats. There were never so many boats at the Vendée Globe. There were 18 new boats, and with more or less all the best skippers in offshore sailing at this moment. Loïc Perron, Vincent Rioux, Jean Le Cam, Sébastien Josse, and so much, yeah. Including very good English guys.
Yeah.
And it was incredible that after that, only 11 crossed the finish line.
Incredible. Well, Michel.
So someone asked me, "Oh, you won against 11?" And I said, "No, I won against 30."
Against 30.
Against 29 for sure.
Well, we've got a little video here with some French commentary from that victory in the 2008-2009 Vendée Globe by Michel Desjoyeaux and Foncière. I'll play that now.
Let's go.
Top pour Foncière, Michel Desjoyeaux, vainqueur du Vendée Globe. Bravo Michel.
84 jours, 3 heures et 9 minutes. Voilà le nouveau temps à battre. Déjà vainqueur en 2001, Michel Desjoyeaux a placé la barre très haute en coupant la ligne ce dimanche 1er février à 16h11 minutes.
J'ai toujours été dans l'action, j'ai toujours fait avancer mon bateau. Je me suis toujours dit, de toute façon, le Vendée Globe, la route est longue. Et puis, de toute façon, je suis au départ, j'ai un problème, on le résout et je repars. Et puis, de toute façon, le bateau, il est entier, je vais faire le Vendée Globe. Et puis l'histoire sera l'histoire, quoi. Et puis l'histoire, elle est même pas belle, elle est trop belle, quoi. C'est incroyable.
Ses adversaires sont très loin, à plus de 1300 milles des Sables d'Olonne. Sa vitesse sur l'eau, tout simplement époustouflante. 14 nœuds de moyenne sur la distance réellement parcourue pendant ce tour du monde.
Moi, ce que je retiens, c'est pas les 12 à l'arrivée, c'est surtout les 30 au départ. Après, il y a la course, il y a la difficulté. On sait que le Vendée Globe, c'est dur. On l'a vu, peut-être pas avec la dernière édition, peut-être pas avec l'édition précédente, mais avec celle d'avant. Voilà, c'est la course la plus dure qui existe, tout simplement. Donc c'est normal qu'on ne soit pas très nombreux sur la ligne d'arrivée.
Déjà vainqueur des plus belles Transat, de la solitaire du Figaro, la machine Desjoyeaux a fonctionné à plein. 13 personnes ont travaillé sur ce projet aujourd'hui gagnant.
J'ai toujours dit que 80% du résultat se fait avant le départ, dans les choix, dans le travail en amont, dans l'équipe, dans l'organisation, dans tout ça. Dans la sérénité aussi, dans l'expérience que j'ai eue dans les navigations qu'on a fait avec le bateau, mais aussi avec les autres bateaux avant, c'est plein de choses, quoi. Et puis bien sûr, il y a les 20% qui restent, qui sont la compétition elle-même, la course elle-même. Et là, ça s'est gagné tous les jours en remettant du charbon, en y croyant, en y allant, en manœuvrant, en se faisant mal, pas trop, parce que paradoxalement, j'ai pas le sentiment d'avoir souffert.
Du monde sur l'eau, une foule impressionnante massée le long des jetées du chenal. Michel a eu droit à son arrivée triomphante, encore plus belle et émouvante que dans ses meilleurs souvenirs.
Non, on sait que c'est ça, c'est très particulier, ça ne se vit que au Sables d'Olonne. C'est pour ça qu'on est content de revenir.
3 jours, 7 heures et 39 minutes de mieux que le temps de référence établi il y a 4 ans. Le champagne peut couler à flot. La première nuit à terre de Michel risque fort d'être une nouvelle fois sans sommeil.
I love the fact that you sprayed it all over the press as well. You look like you enjoyed that.
I love that, but in this condition, you don't have the right to be poor or sad. You for sure you are very happy. You know, this evening, I had to I don't know how do you say that in English, but I had to carry everybody to sleep because I didn't want to sleep.
What an amazing adventure to start, as you put it, with the white piece of paper, and, finishing the Vendée Globe in 2001, doing everything, meticulously and then having the problem and then coming back and beating the best fleet, probably the race of the century in the Vendée Globe. It's incredible. Is there going to be a movie in France? Is there a movie in France? There must be.
I'm not sure that in France we love movie for winners. We prefer a movie for issue and problems. It's a better way to be spoke about.
I don't like those movies.
No,
I like the real
too.
movies, the real ones like yours, but not.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll move on.
This picture is nice. Also, it's this is it was not my boat, even if I am in the picture. This was a massive building, not massive building, but massive team building for massive boat.
Yeah.
Because this one is the second of. We made two twins, in fact, PRB on Foncia in 2006 and 2007, and Foncia 2010 on Massif 2011. And this boat was for François Gabard. You can see him in the middle of the picture, close to the transom. Yes.
Yeah. Who is that standing next to Francois? Francois is the blonde. Who is
yes. And on Starsky is Sébastien Coll, skipper of French boat for the America's Cup in 88, I think. And now is the sport manager of working with François.
Okay.
And he was sailing the first Transat Jacques Vabre with this boat with François.
Mm. And I like this picture because this is a boat designed for a solo sailor.
Yeah.
And the team here, this is just the team Mer Agité, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the part of Mer Agité was working on the boat during the building. In fact, what we used to do with mainly all our boats here is we take the drawings, a yard will build the main part, as Jason Carrington does now, or Green Marine before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they build the platform, they build the hull, the bulkheads, they attach everything together. And then around that, we will integrate all the systems, ballast, engine, electronics, deck gears, electricity, energy in the boat, everything. And then we launch the boat, and then we know exactly how it has been made, how it has been assembled, why it's made like that.
We borrow a French word. We say the providence of the concept, the boat. Yeah.
And a lot of those guys, they are still not all of them, but some of them are still around me, and a lot of them are They continued after in different team with François and other team around.
Yeah, and Michel,
I always said that 80% of the result, of the final result, is made before the start of the race.
Okay.
So we have to work hard to reach those 80% as good as possible.
Yeah, very well put. A bit. It was a change for you, a change in role for you. What makes the best teacher?
I was not a teacher for him. I just bring him a few comments that he didn't have the time for that. François was already a very good competitor. His team at this time already called him Tableau Excel, because he was putting everything in an Excel sheet to planify everything he can do. And he's an engineer with the paper, and he's really kind with all the team and really appreciate it as human, not only as a competitor, which is quite important. If you want to push hard on your team, then you need to be a good manager also, not only a good competitor. It's not enough.
Okay.
I think that the main input from me on this guy, he was young at this moment. He was already 30. He was 40 he was 30 just a few months after the Vendée Globe in 2000. So
okay.
At the beginning, he was 27. He was very young.
One of the youngest to win it, or I think maybe the youngest to win it.
Yeah, the youngest to win it. Yeah. If I didn't win in 2001, it would have been a younger.
Ah, okay.
24 and a girl.
There you go.
Yeah, but no.
what a performance! But it could have been different. You had Armel Leclerc and Alex Thompson with the foiling boats, but Massif won.
Alex didn't have the foiling boat at this time in 2012. It arrived the next before. François was a very good competitor and he already had a lot of experience on big boat. He sailed with Quito de Pavon. He sailed on Norma 60 for a long time. He sailed a lot on multi-hulls, Tornado and boats like that.
Yeah.
So he was not afraid of going fast. For him, to go fast is just normal, in fact. So when the speed, the boat speed is up to 30, up or more to 30 knots.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite nice. That's cool.
Incredible. And here's a lovely two shots that you told me. These are both at the finish of the race.
Yeah, the right one was in the channel going to the harbor in Les Abdolen. It was his day for François, for sure. When you win the Vendée Globe, it's your day. You are the boss of the day. But I wanted to congratulate him in a very short. I don't know the name in English, but no, it was very cool for me to do that and appreciate. And then I disappear completely because it was his day. Okay. And the picture on the left is when you arrive at the dock with all the journalists. It's an incredible moment where you go from single-handed sailing during 3 months and full crowd around you. Wow, it's quite brutal, you know.
Okay.
Quite a big change in a very short time. It's incredible.
I'm just going to say, look, your face. That is, it says it all. You are so happy for him, aren't you?
Yeah, sure. And he didn't saw me arriving to him, so it was wow. That was really a good moment. I remember exactly this moment. Yes.
But a different joy to your two wins. But
in fact, it was already maybe the 7th Vendée Globe. So we already knew that at the start there was a lot of people. We already knew that when you come back, you will have a lot of people meeting you, and you will be the boss of the day this day. But you have to live those moments very, very. Yeah. I don't know how to say that, but you have to embrace the situation completely and to accept it, and that for sure the change from single to full crew is quite brutal, but it's such an incredible moment. You have to be confident with.
Yeah, amazing. Well, we're going to go on to another section, which is all about the MOD70. This is actually a picture from 2011, the Chris match.
Yeah, the first race we made with those boats. We spoke about Orma 60 a few minutes before, and those boats were the exact transfer of experience and knowledge from the ORMA60, where we put everything we learned before, but then now we put that on the one design boat, and we don't speak about technology. We will just appreciate to race on beautiful boats. For me, it's a shame because those boats on this fleet was wonderful, and I was already 42 when we started this, and I didn't want to compete anymore alone because in single-handed because I did what I wanted before, and it was exactly the boat with the same program that we could do with the ORMA60 short circuits. I should find another picture which is wonderful from helicopter in Kiel Harbor, where 5 boats tacking and turning in just 3 lanes of boats. That's incredible. And it was excellent, but I think for French community, if you don't race single-handed races, then it's not. There is no interest for people in France.
Okay, that's interesting.
And outside of France at this moment, the multi-hulls were not famous enough to be appreciated.
Okay.
So it's a shame that this circuit died very fast. Only 2 years. That was a shame. You can imagine.
Yeah. As a one design, we're going to flash forward.
Not very far from that, because it's the 2 years after, or 1.5 years after.
Yeah, not that far after. So we'll show a little film of Figaro cubed in the RORC Caribbean 600, the 2015. And the reason we're showing it is because Michel was on board. So we'll catch up with Michel in a minute.
Yeah, because this number 3 boat was Foncia at the beginning.
That was your boat?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I probably should have known that.
And it's it's the first of time over distance speaker who called me. I know you have a MOD70 for sale. I have someone to buy it. And it's Brian Thompson who called me.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll watch the movie, and then you can tell us about your first trip to Antigua. Let's see the movie.
The first time I went in Antigua, I met you. That's a disaster for me today.
Oh. Shh! Don't tell anyone. Shh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is when you cross just after cross the finish line and go back to the harbor.
If you had one shot.
You want to talk to this, Michel? I can turn the movie down.
Yeah, no. Those boats were very, very simple to drive and very reliable, very. And it was a pleasure to help Brian to make this boat fast again with Lloyd Thornburg, which was a very kind owner. He was the owner of Fado 2, which was a gunboat 66, and for sure the step from gunboat 66, which is not already a slow boat but already a fast boat, to a MOD70 was a big step for him. But that was fun. After the first around Antigua, we went for a long reaching, and we made a mistake. We learned him where was the handle to ease the mainsail, and each time the main hull was flying over the water, he was pulling on the helm to release the mainsail. But he at the beginning he was learning it. That was not a problem. But he was open the vane by pulling on the handle because it's an electronic, and he didn't release the handle. So we until we told him, stop to ease. So the boat was flat again on the water, and we had to trim and to pump the main again. And after a few hours, he understood that he was able just to ease a little and just to depower the main and then keep the boat the right position. And after at the end of this race, he was already very much more friendly with the boat and
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you enjoyed the RORC Caribbean 600 so much.
How
you came back the next year?
Louay, how can you not love this race? Tell me. That's impossible. You sail in one of the best place, or maybe the best place for big boats in West Indies. You sail in hot water, in nice islands, around nice islands. And here I was with nice boats because the year after I was sailing with Team Concise, another MOD70.
Tony Lawson's boat.
Yeah. Yes. With a very good crew. They were young, but they were already very good. And it was beautiful to sail there and to make this Caribbean 600 2-time.
Okay. So this is a blatant advert for the RORC Caribbean 600. Do you think that all of the top French multi-hull sailors should do this race?
Why not?
Come along. They'll have such a good time, honestly.
No, there is the third halftime, which is also a big moment in Antigua.
Yeah.
No, the race is marvelous and the place is nice, and also we went to have beers. What is the name of the small marina of the terrible famous captain?
Carlo Falcone.
Where there are all the UK's military space and factories. Tell me.
That's on the other side, on the windward side of the island.
Yeah.
Crabs.
No, not crabs.
Okay.
Where the rowing guys arrives.
Oh, in English Harbour.
English Harbour, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You know,
where you see all the memories of all the historical memories of this place and what's happened there a few cycles before.
Yeah, the next time you speak to Loic Perron, ask him about English Harbour.
Aha.
It was the first transatlantic he did. He arrived in English Harbour, he told me. His first transatlantic, mini transat.
Yeah.
He finished in English Harbour, and I asked him whether or not the broker just told me Nelson's Dockyard, which is in English Harbour.
Yeah.
So he finished in Nelson's Dockyard, and I said to him, "Were you, what were you feeling like? You've just crossed the Atlantic the first time on your own," and he said he was crying. And I said, "The emotion, Loic." He said, "No." He said, "My backside really hurt." He said. But and Loic has done the 600 with Argo last year, and Gabar has done with Argo as well. Yeah, amazing. We should continue now. There's a race going on right now, the Vendée Arctique.
Hey, Louay, did you have prepared your breakfast for tomorrow? Because we will be still online.
We will. We're nearly there. But I think we'll take a quick look at the Vendée Arctique.
Yep.
And see how we're getting on. This is live. Yeah, this is their website live. Might need to update it. So, this is an interesting development in the race. We have this area of no wind, Michel.
What happened is at the beginning, 3 boats were able to make a break with the rest of the fleet, where the blue one, the yellow one, and the gray one were linked out. Charal and Apivia, and Apivia was leading the fleet.
Big part at the top mark.
at top mark, and I was thinking that Linked Out and Apivia would make a break, and 2 days after they would have 200 miles ahead of the rest of the fleet, because it's something that can happen. Mm-hmm. And hopefully for us, not for them, but for us, they are all together again, like a new start, but they just made half of the race, so they have to finish and to continue to fight hard. I don't know anything about the weather in this area, because we don't used to sail there. But they had a lot of change. I think it's not really a screenshot of what will happen during the Vendée Globe.
Okay.
Because I think that the average speed they have since the beginning is closer to 8 knots, but to 15 or 17. Which is the average speed they will have on the next Vendée Globe, 17 knots, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it's a very good learning curve for us to understand what's happened.
Yeah.
But for sure, it's very useful for them to learn the boat and to learn reliability and to improve their knowledge of the boat.
Okay.
So that's quite not a surprise to see all those guys and women.
Yeah.
Because there are 3 women who are making very good job. Samantha, for sure. Isabelle Joschke, which is very impressive as the knowledge she has with those boats.
Yeah.
And Clarisse Kremer, which is the first without foils. She sailed on Banque Populaire, which is my boat, previous SMA, previous Massif.
But it's a tough length, isn't it? They've been at sea now for 7 days. They will probably be at least 3 or 4 more days, maybe more. That's quite a tough length of racing, isn't it? 14, 15 days. It's
more or less. It's crossing the Atlantic. Yeah. So
yeah.
They needed anyway, because of the COVID. They didn't sail a lot. They didn't sail during winter on
to New York. Yeah.
To New York and go back. So that was very helpful that this race appears, and they were 20 at the start.
Okay.
A bit less now, because 3 boats.
A few retirements.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good luck. Bon vent in the Vendée Arctique. We'll get back to the show, and we're going to show a particular boat here. We're going to show Apivia, which we have a lovely bit of drone footage from, and maybe when we're showing it, you can talk about it, Michel.
Yep. This boat already won last year the Transat Jacques Vabre with Charlie Dalin and Yann Eliès. I think Charlie is the one we spoke about, which finished 5 times on the podium on the stage in the Figaro in the 5 last time he competed. So he's very efficient in all the way of the project. He's naval architect also, which helps for sure a lot. And it's definitely not for me a surprise that we find him at this place.
Yeah.
This boat is more or less the same, in fact the same concept as Linked Out Thomas Rouillon boat, who is also a very good competitor and will push hard the boat during the Vendée. He made a very nice Vendée Globe last time, before to break his boat in South Ocean, close to New Zealand. Maybe you remember, he was able to bring back his boat without crack, with the deck start to crack, but be very safe to bring back the boat ashore.
And he won the TJV last year?
Apivia won the TGV, yes. and I think it's one of the best favorites
for the race.
Couple with boats on skipper for the next Vendée Globe, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And he's in the team with François Gabard's guys, and they are very very good team working.
Yeah. Michel, I have to mention Alex Thompson.
Who is Alex Thompson? I don't know.
Here we have two pictures of the former Hugo Boss and the new Hugo Boss.
Yeah.
And come on, it's got to be one of the favourites. What do you think?
For sure. Hopefully, I say, didn't win the Route du Rhum, then he will have less pressure on the next Vendée Globe. But what he did on the last Route du Rhum is quite incredible. You have to remember that after 6 days, there were 3 or 5 boats in the same place in the middle of the Atlantic. And in more or less than 5 days, he put 1 day to all those other boats. He was 2 knots faster than all the other every day. That was incredible. At least he has a very heavy boat. He had very different foil, so for sure upwind it's a disaster, but downwind it's quite incredible.
Okay.
And I'm sure that the new boat he did this time, I don't like the color, but that's all. And I don't like the cockpit also.
What? Yeah, the enclosed cockpit. Why don't you like the principle?
That's very nice to be in closed cockpit, but it's too much. It's not very easy to access from the cockpit to what's happened outside, and it's not for me. If he's kind and confident with that, no problem. He will be fast. But I'm not. I would not make a boat such with a closed cockpit like that.
Okay.
I don't like it. But definitely the boat is fast, and the guy is a real soldier of this race. And he was very close to be able to win 4 years ago. And maybe this time he would be very close. And also because he had big issue during the Transat AG2R, the last one, when he was touched something on brake, his keel fitting.
Yeah. So close to the finish.
Yeah, he was. I think now he's very angry, and he will be very efficient for the next race.
Okay.
His major issue is he never made the Figaro race. It's a joke.
It's good to get honesty.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Alex, if he's listening to this, he might not agree with you, but he'll listen to you for sure.
Yeah. For sure, Helen was very close to win the Vendée Globe in 2001, and I think that Alex is very close to win the next Vendée Globe, for sure.
Okay.
And it's not because I'm with a UK media.
That's you can just say the truth. It's fine by me.
I always say what I think, never different.
Well, Michel.
Oh, what is this place? We don't know this place.
Michel, we are. That's all we've got time for this week, and in fact, next week we will have a selection of the best bits of the last 15 shows, because I'm delighted to say that the Royal Ocean Racing Club is going racing in August. We have a Race the Wight, which is a race round the Isle of Wight, and we hope that you'll all be taking part. Michel is available. If anybody needs any crew, he'd be very happy to do the round the Isle of Wight race. Would you be happy to join somebody, Michel?
No. That's not possible, because this summer in August I will go for cruising with a nice boat. So I will not race her.
Okay.
This year I didn't have any license from the French Federation, so I will not be a racer this year. I'm in holidays now. Thank you.
Okay. Michel, thank you for an amazing insight into your sailing. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. A last word from you.
That was a very nice 2 hours we spent together. we had together. You spent 2 hours, but not me. And it's always a pleasure to speak about our common passion. And I hope that maybe when UK guy will win the race starting from this harbor on the picture and arriving first. I will be there on the start, and I will be there certainly for the finish.
Okay.
Hope that you will follow that during our long winter in North Hemisphere and have fun.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, Louay, and everybody online tonight.
Thank you so much, Michel. We will play you out with a look at the skippers racing in the 2020 Vendée Globe. Thank you all for watching. Be safe out there, and I hope you all get back on the water soon.
C'est l'aventure ultime.